I relate because I can't stand to see the tears in my mother's eyes anymore.
My friend has leukemia, and I see the amount of pain he and his family go through every single day. And so I relate for him and every single human being who has to go through this battle.
So cancer has had a pretty big impact on my life. So a couple of years ago, a really good friend of my father's and our family passed away from cancer. Um, he started off with a malignant tumor in his kidney, and like a couple of years later, he passed away. And he was the first person that passed away in my life that I actually knew really well. I knew his kids. I still know his kids. He used to take me back and forth from school when I was younger. He used to bring candy over to my house. So it was a really difficult experience for my father and for my whole family. 2 months later, my father actually found out that he had a malignant tumor in his kidney. But alhamdulillah, he was lucky. He was able to get it surgically removed. And it was a very small portion of his kidney that had to be removed. So he got very lucky. He actually keeps telling us that he thinks the reason that Allah, gave him the ability to see that he had the cancer early was because he made dua for his friend when he was dying, that Allah would give him shifa, like would heal him. And I remember I found out when I was in Egypt, like after my parents did Umrah, and I think it was during Ramadan time. So yeah, cancer has definitely had a huge impact on my life. And I think what it taught me is the importance of and the significance of making dua and how that can have an impact on people. So let's make dua and let's donate.
So my uncle was diagnosed cancer about 5 years ago. We all lived together, so it was really hard for our family. But alhamdulillah, like he came to the US, got treatment, and now he's a survivor. So that's why I rally. I rally for my uncle.
So my maternal grandpa had cancer, and though I didn't see him during the fight, I was able to experience the effect through a single phone call and through my mom's stories. I remember talking to my mom on the phone when she was in Egypt trying to take care of her dad, and she lent the phone to my grandpa so I can talk to him. And just through that phone call, I was able to hear and feel how weak he was because he had bone cancer and how desperate he sounded. He kept asking me how I was and when I was going to see him. I usually visit Egypt every 2 summers, but I hadn't visited it. I hadn't traveled that summer, and I wasn't planning on visiting the next summer because I had a bunch of stuff going on. I didn't know how to tell him that I wasn't going to see him, and then at that point it hit me that this was probably going to be the last time that I'll ever hear his voice, and that the last time that I visited him was going to be the last time that I was going to see him. And I also realized how many other families had to experience this fight, or a similar fight, and I relay for all of the families who are trying to stay strong through it and after it.
Cancer to me is the moment in the hospital with my friend's mother when everything was quiet. When no one moved and everyone just stood around not knowing what to do or who to turn to, and everyone took turns comforting her. Cancer is the moment my friend had to decide if it was best to take his mother back to Bangladesh to see her family one last time. It's the hours of pain and crying, but it's also the hours of perseverance and strength. The hours trying to find the best hospital, and the hours wondering whether the pain is even worth the struggle. And it's the love that allows you to think that maybe if you struggle enough, try enough, maybe something will change. Maybe you'll get to spend more time with family. Maybe everyone will be happy again. And sometimes it's coming to the realization that maybe nothing will change, and realizing that the few moments you have left together are the few moments that you'll have to cherish, the moments that you'll have to preserve, and the last few chances you'll have to express your love. If I can even give a little bit of support to all the people struggling out there, I will gladly do so.
I've actually had a pretty personal experience with cancer. Not that I've had it, but my cousin actually did. My late cousin. He was diagnosed with osteosarcoma in like 2002, and I just remember when we visited him in 2004, like he just wasn't the same person. I mean, he'd still make the same jokes and everything, but like at that point, so osteosarcoma is bone cancer, right? It had affected him to the point where, like, you know, he just couldn't do a lot of things on his own. My parents, being, you know, the part of our family that's here abroad, actually funded like a lot of his treatment, which happened abroad in Thailand, and that was like really taxing on the entire family, just in terms of like the amount of effort and everything. But so after we came back from Bangladesh in 2004, in early 2005, his cancer metastasized for the second time and actually spread to his lungs. And in the end of 2005, towards the end, November actually, he passed away. So that's my personal experience with cancer. I relay for him. I relay for anyone who has their life cut that short.
I think what scares me the most is recurrence. The fact that someone can fight this battle once and still have to go through it again. The fact that my mother could have cancer and beat it, and she still has to go through it again. The fact that she has to go through the trauma of chemotherapy, she still had to go through it again. I think that that's one of the scariest things, because we didn't even know that it was coming back. And we still don't know. We still don't know. One of my mother's friends, she had the same type of cancer that my mom did. And it came and she beat it. And then only a short while later, it came back. And this time, it took her life. And this was only a few months before my own mother found out that her cancer returned. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know who's going to get cancer, which one of us will have to deal with the repercussions of it. And unfortunately, we're all going to be affected by cancer in some way or the other. Chances are very great of that. So I encourage all of you to please donate to support cancer research in order to help better the lives of those who are still struggling in the fight against cancer.